What is up guys, Arolf here back again with another video, and today we'll be taking a look at the Marvel Legends X-Men 20th Anniversary Magneto and Professor X. So taking a look around the packaging, on the top you get Marvel Legends, on the side you get a silhouette of Magneto, same thing on the back with Professor X and him on the side as well, and on the bottom you have the UPC scan if you want it, and without further ado, let's get into it. Doing some size comparisons, here is Magneto and Professor X next to the rest of the 20th Century Fox figures that I already reviewed, but this is incomplete without his wheelchair, so let's take a look at that. There we go, much more fitting. Now taking a look at the MCU characters, that's what they look like together. MCU crossover, Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness? We'll see. Taking a look at Magneto's accessories, he comes with two additional hands, one fisted hand and one open hand, or kind of a gesture hand, which has some basic sculpt to it. It's just black plastic, nothing special about that, but you can get some cool poses or some flying poses if you want to. Also, Magneto comes with 3 additional head sculpts, so taking a look at the younger Magneto here, starting off looking at the likeness to Michael Fassbender, it is there. I think his eyes are a little too small, a little too chinky for me. You can see he has some brown and dark wash in the hair here. I like that look going on, but this is what it looks like on the figure. So taking a look at the next head sculpt is the helmeted Ian McKellen version. This is the older version of Magneto, far better likeness to Ian McKellen than Fassbender. So you can see the helmet there is made out of a soft rubbery plastic. I don't like the shiny plastic that they use. I wish it was a matte textured look. That would have been better. But this is what it looks like on the figure, and the bodies don't fit for me. With this older Magneto, it's just not even the right costume too. And lastly, looking at the unhelmeted Ian McKellen version, wow, they nailed this head sculpt spot on. I like how that the hair is a separate piece. Nothing special going on with black washing, but there is a little tiny dot right there, but that is okay. You got some nice texturing details in the hair, very fine as well. The digital printing tech is on point with this one. So moving over to Professor X and his accessories, he gets 1 pair of gesture hands. Now these hands are nicely sculpted. They're just a little too waxy looking for me, but this is what it looks like on the figure. Next up, you get 1 hand. Now this hand looks like a gesture hand and also could be used to hold a gun or hold something else or whatever you want. The poses and possibilities are endless, so enjoy. Next up, you get the older version of Professor X, portrayed by Patrick Stewart, and the likeness and the head shape is on point on this one. It's a little off for me in the eye area where they added the eye bags. I don't know, something looks a little off. It just looks flat, but if they actually sculpted it a little more, if they defined it a little more, I think it would have looked better. But looking at it on the figure, it looks alright. It's just that the suit itself is not accurate, but I'm pretty sure you could just body swap it with someone else. And lastly, for his accessories, you get his wheelchair. Now, it's great that we have a wheelchair, but I haven't seen this in any of the movies. Correct me if I'm wrong. It just looks like a basic wheelchair. There's nothing special about it. It looks like a brand new sculpt, and here I'm showing that the front wheels are actually sculpted in and they don't move, unlike the back wheels, which they do move. And the tire around it has a soft rubbery plastic, which is nice, and it rolls really well. But you can see taking it apart, that's how you attach the little post thing right there. But I haven't seen this wheelchair in any of the X-Men movies. It's not very accurate. They reused this wheelchair for the Logan and Charles 2-pack. So that's quite disappointing that we get this same exact wheelchair. I wish we get a more accurate representation of the wheelchair in the movie, or the one with the X's on it. That would have been nice, but at least he has a wheelchair, so that's cool. And you can see it rolls. But yeah. So taking a closer look at younger Magneto here, starting off with the helmeted version, which I think looks very, very nice for the helmet, but for the head sculpt, I think it's alright. The facial expression is okay. You can see on the back here, I think that's a piece of hair sticking out since it's a little bit brighter than the rest of the helmet, but looking at the helmet, I like this matte textured look to it. It has this nice like metal look to it as well, which is cool. And you can see it's also made out of a soft rubbery plastic, but I don't think this does not look like Michael Fassbender at all. Probably in some angles, but yeah, he's in there, but it just does not look like him with this facial expression. Would have been nice if they went with a more calmer look, but they got to get those facial expressions in for some dynamic poses, if you know what I mean. But looking at the rest of the suit here, this is the suit that we see in Days of Future Past. So the older Magnetos wouldn't work on this guy, so that's quite disappointing. And you could see bending out the arms, they're very tough, and in the articulation part is very disappointing for me because something will happen in that part which will be coming up soon. But looking at the rest of the sculpt here, you can see the lower or the abdomen area piece is made out of a rubbery plastic, so I don't know why they went with that, because it could deteriorate in the future or discolor in the future if you have this in the sun. And looking at the rest of the suit, nothing special. Black boots, got some texturing details, and peg holes at the bottom of his feet. For Magneto's articulation, the head is on a ball hinge joint, which I'm excited to see. So it does rotate all the way around. It can look up that far, so I could do some cool flying poses. And downward, not that much because it's hindered by the cape, but you can remove it as well. You also get just a little head wobble right there and a little forward and back movement. And the arms here, as stiff as they are, they do rotate all the way around, but they're stiff when they're moving out. You can see the plastic stretch right there for a little bit. They bent out at 90 degrees right there, and they bent inward about that much, but a moment of silence, please. Oh, shit. Look at that. Wow, really? Oh my days, it broke. Damn. That's quite unfortunate. But we'll still move on. Alright, let's get back into it. A bicep swivel, double jointed elbows. I know a lot of people say knees, but that's our fault. The wrists here do rotate all the way around. They bend up that far, down that much. Same thing with this gesture hand, all the way around, up that far, down that much. The torso here is on a ball joint, so he can bend forward about that far, which is okay. He can bend back quite a bit more. You get some side-to-side movement and 360-degree rotation like so. Legs can kick forward that far at 90 degrees, so I could sit down like so, and back just a little bit right there, a little give right there. He also has an upper thigh swivel, which is very stiff. Double jointed knees, which are stiff, but I prefer that than rubbery knees. Also has a boot rotation, feet bend down that far, which is great, up that much, which is also great. And he also has an ankle pivot, which moves side to side. Legs move outward that far. Almost could do the splits, and doing the ankle pivot test. This one's a little hard to balance. Skip, and he is good to go. So, taking a closer look at Professor X here, starting off with the James McAvoy head sculpt. Do you guys see it? I don't really see the likeness there. And they messed up on the digital printing tech. Looks like his eye is moving off to the side there, which is quite unfortunate. On some angles, you could see him. That side angle, no. Does that side angle look like him? No, I just don't see it. He just looks a little... His eyes look a little too small for me, but his head is on point. You can see right there. Looking at it, I just don't see the likeness to James McAvoy there, but at least they tried somehow. It looks like it feels like they rushed the younger head sculpts, but they nailed the older likenesses. So that's great, great Hasbro, good job on those. But unfortunate for the younger X-Men. But looking at the rest of the suit here, we kind of seen most of the body parts here, like we've seen these arms before. I think the suit piece itself is a new sculpt. It's made out of soft rubbery plastic. Nothing special going on. You can see there are some buttons sculpted. I think those are newly added because I haven't seen those buttons before on other suits. And you can see some wrinkles in the pants, sculpted hinges right there, which is a nice touch. I really like the glossy black shoes as well. They added some lace detail right there, which is also a nice touch. And peg holes, which are very shallow at the bottom of his feet. For Professor X's articulation, the head is on a ball hinge joint, which I'm glad to see back, so it does rotate all the way around. It can't look up that far. It's kind of hindered by the back of the head, which is bald, which is surprising, but he can't look down that much, which is great. Barely any tilty shifty head movement, but he can move forward and back like so. Arms do rotate all the way around. They bend outward that far at 90 degrees and inward that much. He also has a bicep swivel, double jointed elbows right there, great bend. And his hands here do rotate all the way around. They bend up that far, down that much. And same thing with the other hand here, all the way around, up that far and down that much. He also has a torso bend, which is covered by the suit itself, which is quite unfortunate, but you still get decent range. So forward that far and back that much. He also has a waist swivel, which rotates all the way around. Legs can kick forward that far, so he can sit comfortably in his wheelchair and not anywhere else other than that for the rest of his life. And back quite a bit. He also has a upper thigh swivel, double jointed knees. Feet bend down that far, which is typical for these suit type figures and I'm okay with. And up that much. He also has an ankle pivot. Legs move outward that far. And since his legs on this copy are rubbery, he can't stand doing the wide stance well, so skip, and he is good to go. So yeah, that is it guys. Hope you guys like it. If you did, drop a like, subscribe if you want to see more, and hit the bell to be notified when I upload a new video. Now it's a 2-pack. This is great. Charles Xavier and Eric Lencher. What a great 2-pack. Execution is okay. It's nice that they added the older head sculpt since these body types are meant for the younger versions of the characters. So Professor X, it works with the younger version with James McAvoy, even though that head sculpt is very off to me, because that suit is, I think we see it in Apocalypse at the very end of the movie, so that's the suit that he wore, but it can kind of work with Charles Xavier as well. But with Magneto, it's a little bit different since he is a little bit more younger and more bulkier in the Days of Future Past version, which where we see this suit from. It doesn't really work with Ian McKellen's version. His has a more toned down look to it, had a more longer cape, which kind of flowed over to his side a little bit more. It just doesn't work for him, but the head sculpts on those is great. It's just that they feel like they rushed on the younger version, so other than that, the older version head sculpts are great. The younger versions are so-so. But yeah, if you can find him, go pick him up right now. He's a nice addition to your collection. So yeah, that is it guys. Hope you guys like it. Arolf Mora. This is signing out. Peace.